This episode of the Amp Hour is brought to you by NetBurner. Have you ever bought an embedded development kit that took a day or weeks to get to Hello World? Are there endless libraries requiring build after build? And do you find yourself banging on your desk, waiting for your application to compile and download, when all you want to do is test your code and get it out the door? NetBurner provides the easiest way to develop and deploy network-connected embedded devices. With a complete solution of hardware, software, and development tools, your prototype will be up and running in no time. For more info and a special listener offer, go to netburner.com/theamphour. This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Recorded July 16th, 2013. Episode 154. Doodad, Dealer, Dancing.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
What's up, nerd?
Oh, I'm going to be hanging out with Amp Hour listeners without you.
Yes. Heard about that.
It's
How
Friday.
dare you?
Well, sorry. You still have time to buy a ticket to New York City.
Right, yeah. No worries. Sure I can swing that by the wife? Not a problem.
Yeah, just ask permission and hop on a plane and
I
40
could just
short
go
hours
over
later.
and see you, honey. I'm going out for a bit. You know?
Yeah. Just don't come a couple days.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure she won't even notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Just tell her you're at the lab.
50
right?
hours flight later. Yeah.
Oh, that, right. Yeah.
And then call her up. Oh, it's a slight detour. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to be having a meetup in New York City at a place called Swift Hibernian Lounge. I don't know what that means, but they have a place where we can hang out. And they have food and they have beer, and they'll have a bunch of nerds influxing to their location.
Have you got your own private room or something?
No, just kind of like a back area.
Or do you have to share it with the
they'd-
plebs?
Yeah, we have to share it with the plebs.
All right.
Yeah,
The
I'm not gonna
muggles.
drop tons and tons of dough on a room when we can just kind of take over if there's
Because
enough
you're
people.
already dropping tons and tons of dough on buying these stupid Google glasses and your plane ticket
Yeah,
to
right.
New York, right?
Yeah. And I do have to say up front, I won't. So anyone who does show up and they ask me, I'm not going to actually have Google Glass. So if that's what you're going to expect, don't even bother.
Right. There you go.
So that's the next
no one's
day.
going to turn up now.
I know. Yeah, it's just me and other Amp Hour listeners. So sorry to disappoint in advance, but I don't know. Come have a beer. We'll toast.
Right.
We'll toast Dave's distant memory. Not because he'll be dead or anything, but because he's very far away.
Right. Oh. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. And we will be having a listening session as well.
A what?
A listening session, like a CD release party or like an album release party. We'll have that, except it will just be 2 hours of us laughing.
Right.
Did you?
Why?
You know what I'm talking about? So there was this.
You've done 4 minutes worth of laughter.
That actually
track.
wasn't me. It wasn't me, but it was.
Oh, really? All right. Somebody
right,
else
yeah,
mixed that, did they?
Yeah, so I had posted last week. I had posted the Amp Hour minus the Amp Hour. It was just I took it out of context where it was just Dave on one track and it was just me on another, and just Jeff on another with just taking all the silence out. And then
Yeah.
oh, I forgot his name already. Sorry, Kai, I think he actually did the hard work of cutting us all together, and it's super creepy because it's just
it's really
just
smooth
laughing.
too. You would think it was done in one take.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah, it
really
sounds like
is
we're
weird.
tripping balls, basically. But no, it was just a fancy editing.
And there's some Kaiser in there as well.
Oh yeah, Jeff's in there too.
Geez, we haven't had him on for a long time, have we? The old third wheel.
I know. Well, I've been trying to, Mister. I've got a fancy job at Valve. I'm calling you out, Jeff
I don't have
Kaiser.
time for the plebs anymore.
Yeah, it's tough because time differences are a tough thing. It's tough for any organization, right? We are an organization, Dave. And
are we?
When we should
Holy crap.
we should see if we can come on now. We're starting so late tonight, but yeah. I mean, usually we're starting, where he's still at work because they work pretty late anyways. So it's what you gonna do?
Oh well, we'll get him on one day.
We'll get there.
Shall we actually get on to some real news and crap? Because that's our slogan, right? Keep current.
Keep current, yeah. That's our tagline.
Keep current.
Yes.
The tagline, yes.
Right.
We don't really have a slogan, do we?
No, I don't know what the difference is.
No. Neither do I. I don't know.
Yeah, we should move on with... we've gotten through the news, I guess, right?
Not really.
No?
There's more news.
Oh, we gotten through the
fact,
amp hour news.
Right.
Yeah.
This show's
the
going
other
well
news?
so far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, this one got voted up the highest. No, not quite. No, there's two more. Sorry, I haven't even sorted by Reddit things by popularity. Yeah.
Top.
But anyway, one of the ones that go right up there, we'll get it out of the way. Hackaday.
Yes, mentioned previously. 2 weeks ago?
Editors of... Yeah, we did. But now, as it turns out, the editors of Hackaday... I assume they're the current paid editors, who run the thing.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, they're trying to raise funds to buy Hackaday and form a non-profit to run
Lots of funds. Lots and lots of funds.
Yeah. Well, we're talking $500,000, right? So,
right.
It's not cheap. It's not chump change.
No.
$540,000 goal, and they're up to 8,700 so far. So they've got a long way to go, but there is 30 days left.
Right. It's tough. I mean, it's like there's not a whole lot of reason to want independent, but I mean, it would be a good thing, right? But it's not like everyone's like, oh, the ads are terrible there. It's not like they're
the ads
popping
are
up.
Gonna stay.
Please wait 20 seconds. No, I know, but they're not like intrusive ads. You know what I mean? Like that's the downside. It's not like they're super oppressed.
Well,
it's just like it could be. Whoever they sell to.
They're saying, I think, that they might have to go to different forms of advertising and stuff to bring in more income to hire, more editors and all that sort of jazz. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
But that was going to be the natural progression of the website anyway. That once it gets more and more popular, it needs more and more editors and more highly paid editors, I guess. And to do that, you need money.
Right. Well, this is just to buy it off the current owner, though, too, Jason Galcanis.
It's just to buy it off the current owner. Yeah, and then hopefully, and then they're hoping that the income stream will keep paying for the, because apparently it's not really making much money at the moment. The site, or it never has made a huge amount of money. It's sort of most of the money sort of goes into paying the editors and stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah.
It's well, I wish them well. I mean, I suggest people that
same here.
People donate, and I do like that they're doing the fixed funding thing. I keep seeing lots and lots of Indiegogo
not the flexible.
things. Flexible funding is just
flexible funding. I know where if people don't know, it's where flexible is where even if you don't reach your target, you get the money anyway. So even if you don't end up with enough money to do the job, you still get the money. It's lame, It's
right. It's basically
it's good
fundraising.
For some things,
it's a bake sale, right? I mean, that's effectively what it is.
Yeah. But no, this is fixed, which means it's just like the Kickstarter. Fixed is like the Kickstarter thing. If you don't reach your target, no one gets charged and no one gets anything. So it's all a bust,
Yep.
Which in this case, there's no point for them to, if they get 300,000, then that's not enough money to buy it. So, it's not fair to take the money and well, sorry, we tried, but we didn't reach our target, but thanks for the 300,000 anyway,
We'll be in the Bahamas. Which is what you expect people to say when they're, doing flexible fundraising.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Oh boy.
Which is another link on our
let's not go there yet. I haven't finished.
Oh, you got more to talk about. Okay. Because I'm ready for this one.
I wish them the best, but my fear is that when something is owned by the community and tried to be run as a non-profit for the community, I can picture there being lots of shit fights.
Like about direction.
You need to run it as a dictatorship. That's the only way it works. These things often work. Somebody needs to be in charge and say, no, screw you. I'm making the decision. Bang. That's it.
That is true.
Whereas everyone who contributes, if somebody pays their, what some of the levels here are $500, $1,000, $5,000, right? Yeah. If you want to link on their main website, imagine if you paid your $5,000 or whatever, or your $1,000 or your $500, then you're going to want to have a say in it, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Or you're going to think you want to have a say in it,
Right.
Look, I gave you $1,000, and you're not taking my ideas seriously, and it just turns
I don't know
into
if that really has any validity here, because it's not like they say that you'll have any say, right?
No, exactly. But still, that won't stop people, complaining and stuff like that. And anyway, I don't know. It won't. I can't see it running as smoothly as they hope, but it'll still work.
Well, it's like any project, right? I mean, if you have 4 managers on a project, right? There's always bickering and everything else, right? I mean, like it's just the same kind of thing of sometimes having a decision maker is good. Sometimes it's bad, aka Caesar.
Well, that's what they want to do. They want to hire a chief editor, right? So, and by the way, this is not the only campaign. Somebody else set up their own campaign once again on Indiegogo, I think. That also they're trying to buy it as well. There's actually 2 competing campaigns.
Oh wow!
If you have a look, they actually link to it. They on the
I didn't see that.
On the Hackaday website, they actually link to the competing campaign. So, there's this guy who, I'm not sure who he is. I did watch a bit of the video, but he says, look, I'm passionate, I want to buy Hackaday, and I'm looking for, I think he's looking for, the 350,000 or something like that.
Well, Dave, you should start your own.
I don't know if he's currently...
You should start a buy Hackaday campaign.
Well, I should start one too.
Yeah, right, I should start one,
yeah. Jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it, and the first to $500,000 wins.
Exactly, the Amazing Race.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Interesting developments, that's for sure.
Yeah. Right, because the other option is just to say, I guess we could just start another site that's like Hackaday, right? Just a big
competing
internet property. Yeah.
Right. Oh, boy. Yep. Anyway, should we get on to the turd? The crackpot product of the week. What segment did we used to have?
We're front-loading the Indiegogo and crackpot stuff. Not that the Hackaday thing was, but this one upcoming is. And then we'll get to the electronic side of things. How about that?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I saw this. I think it was Mike. Mike Harrison that actually posted this, and he tweeted it, right?
Pointed it out.
He found it and everything?
And he put it on the forum as well.
Oh, he did? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I think he put it on the forum first, and then he had a tweet rant. It's, folks, hold on to your hats. It's called the TARC. The TARC, it's promoted as the first thought phone. The world's first thought phone, a transistor-free and electronics-independent communications device. It gets worse than what you think. Right, it just goes downhill from there.
I started out, I'm like, okay, there must be something here, right? Maybe it's magnetic or...
No. No, here we go. The TARC stands for Thought Attenuated Resonance Communicator and is powered from the electromagnetic fields surrounding the human body and is activated by bioelectrical
Man, this is a goddamn rock, all right? Let's be honest here.
No, it's based on interdimensional technology, and here's where it gets better, folks. Yes, this guy says, Paris Tossin is his name. Tossin. He's certainly having a good toss here, that's for sure.
He's a tosser.
He has claims that he has been in touch with interdimensional beings or races. right? And called Steelan Science and Crystalline Engineering, and he reckons he's got some of the technology from these interdimensional beings to design this TARC device. Yes, it is that batshit crazy.
It's like, oh, I feel bad. Like, this is bordering on. It feels like it's bordering on, like, you can't be this crazy, right?
I mean, he's after $15,000, not American, Canadian,
right? Which is,
I think it's Canadian,
close
isn't it?
these days, but
right, yeah, $15,000 Canadian. But he says that if he gets like, $100,000, he'll improve the production capacity and he'll create professional packaging and logos, and if he gets $250,000, he'll do more research and development for a second generation device. Oh goodness! Yeah, what can you say? I mean, I
don't know, man. It has no operating system. It has no transistors. No battery to install. I mean, this is like beyond. I feel like this is an affront to the Shonky product of the week. At least some other people try. They don't just mention that there's not transistors in it. It's like, oh, here's this dirt. It doesn't have transistors in it, I don't know. It's just a laugh, Like we really can't say much else about it.
It is. It's hilarious. Yeah. No. The thing is, it's probably not a deliberate scam as such. This guy probably genuinely believes this thing works and believes all the shit he's saying.
Yeah. Can you really?
It wouldn't surprise me. Yes, people are this delusional. They are.
Is this like people that like believe in like crystals and all that other crap? Like energy crystals?
Exactly. It's a similar thing. This guy just he's been in touch with interdimensional races. Well, people believe in this shit.
I guess everybody needs.
People believe in imaginary stuff all the time. Take religion. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
I mean, right? Yeah. I mean, seriously, people believe that they can hear God talking to them, or they can hear these interdimensional beings talking to them, or whatever. And it's, to them, it's as real as evidence-based stuff is to us. They feel it. It's real.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
yeah. The problem is he calls it a phone. Otherwise, we wouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's move on.
It's hilarious, folks. Go and take a look. Next.
Yeah, next.
Oh boy.
I don't even know where to go from here.
Well, we could go to, hey, let's continue the Indiegogo theme.
Oh, another one.
You've put a very provocative title here.
Oh, yeah, this one, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so
tell us about your
this is interesting,
title.
right? So this is someone who has written a couple books, or a book, and he's created a robot, and basically his thesis is he works with nonprofits, he volunteers, and he wants to lower the cost of hardware for beginners, right? So he runs a nonprofit,
awesome,
and he wants to be able to, instead of spending $25 per Arduino, he wants to sell them for $9. And
it's like the Raspberry Pi model, right? Which is exactly the same.
Right.
It's a non-profit organisation who want to get hardware in people's hands for as little cost as possible.
Right. And so, yeah, my provocative title was, are nonprofits the bane of open source hardware, right? I mean, like, not to be... That sounds quite provocative, but it was just on a whim. But, I mean, honestly, like...
There is some truth to this,
I mean, companies run on margin, right? I mean, like, between the material cost and how much you sell it for is what you run your company on and use future R&D or stuff, right? And so on the one hand, I'm very, very much for this because, heck yeah, I want more kids to have access to Arduinos and everything else. On the other hand, this basically runs right up against that, I don't even remember what the name of it was, though. The guy that took the Replicator 2 says, this is an open source design, I'm taking it to China, it's going to be $700 cheaper, and no one funded it, right? And there was a lot of backlash against that. And it's like, man, if that guy,
But he did, the difference is, he did it for commercial reasons, for profit. This guy is doing it for... much better reasons.
Right.
He has good intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's not in it to make a buck. He's doing it for a good cause.
Right, but so I guess the question is, okay, so say this continues indefinitely, right? The question is like, if this becomes more widespread, like personally, I don't know the finances of like of Raspberry Pi Foundation, right? But there must be a little bit of margin, or else the big distributors wouldn't have piled onto it and everything else as well. But
oh yeah, there's enough to cover their costs, and this guy would be the same, right? There'd be enough to cover.
Well, I said margin though.
Costs
so margin
things,
is the difference, right? That's what you run your operations on, right? So if you need to pay people, or and honestly, I think
as the Raspberry Pi Foundation do, right? They've got quite a few.
No, they don't actually.
People, they've got quite a. No?
Liz,
I thought they had quite a few overheads.
Liz Upton, I believe, is the only employee of the Raspberry Pi Foundation. Full-time employee. Okay. I think it may have changed since they've exploded in growth. But I think when I talked to Eben at Maker Faire last year, I think that Liz was the only one. And she does a lot of the outreach stuff and the social media. But then Eben still works, I believe, and then some of the other designers, they all still work. Basically, it's all volunteer. That's old information. Yep. I'm not sure if that's still true. And so that's the question, though, is that like does at that point does open source hardware then is it a volunteer workforce, right? Or is there still a business model behind it, saying that you have to add some kind of you just have to keep innovating, right? That's always what's talked about. Of if it's open source hardware, you have to keep making new stuff. Yeah. But I mean, this is just kind of where it clashes, right? I mean, you want to offer low cost hardware to people so they get involved, but then you also want to be able to run businesses so they can keep operating.
Like Arduino, so they can, I'm sure nobody wants to put Arduino out of business, right? Because they're the ones who started it all and deserve the fortune and glory.
Right, of course.
Right, but this could potentially, I'm not saying it will, but why would you buy a $25 or a $30? I don't know how much the genuine Arduino costs when you can get one of these non-profit boards for $9. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and how does anyone else come into the market space?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. Let's say somebody wanted to do like a similar to the Raspberry Pi, but some variant or something. Well, how do you compete on cost? You can't. Right? Because, you can't sort of, make a profit and compete with the Raspberry Pi price. And that's a similar thing going on here.
Right.
And we should say, if you have a look at the project page, right, here's the sort of, thing in there. This guy is adding nothing extra. It is a complete duplicate of the Arduino Leonardo. And he actually shows two photos side by side. And, they are identical. The component placement's absolutely identical. Everything's
right. He goes over the differences in the project as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, I haven't.
Oh,
read
yeah.
All that,
it's some component differences mostly,
not.
like a different connector, different diode.
Oh yeah, but the layout is exactly the same, and the functionality is exactly the same. When you look at the two boards side by side, it looks like he's just replaced the Arduino logo with his logo, and that's it. And it may be a font change, with some of the labelling on the pins. But apart from that, all of the connectors are in an identical, all of the components are identically laid out.
Yeah, definitely.
You could... Yeah.
Which is allowed. So I mean, that is okay. Like this...
of course, it's
again,
totally okay.
This is just a discussion about the interesting... this is just an interesting aspect. I mean, at one side, this is a function of open source hardware, right? I mean, it allows people to say, I forego margin in order to... allow nonprofit kind of access, right?
And that's why you have to support them. If you support open source hardware, you have to support them doing this.
I think maybe the thing that would help with this too is like if you think about wide scale access to this kind of pricing, right, for a $9 board, eventually, he's either gonna if 1,000 people. Not 1,000. Say 100,000 people want a board at $9, right? That might be when you start running into for 9,000 or I can't, maybe he says I can't make 100,000 at $9. Maybe that's what it is. It's the volume and the hassle behind creating that many boards and the delivery of it. That becomes the limiting factor in the manufacturing, right? Because that margin isn't.
He would have to hire more people. Probably have to hire more people and exactly. Do whatnot and. and then it becomes a full-on business, and then, well, you can't run it as, and then the price has to go up. It's sort of one of those contradictory things. You would think that the higher volume you go, the, cheaper everything gets, but not necessarily so.
Yeah.
Especially is he like a one-man band?
It looks like it, yeah.
Right, then, yeah, there are limits to what you can do yourself. So,
yeah.
Although, to be fair, I haven't watched the video yet. So, I don't know.
Well,
what's our verdict?
Good luck. I mean, good luck, because at the base of it, he's trying to offer stuff for, his heart's in the right place. It seems like he's trying to offer low-cost hardware to nonprofits. I think if I were him, I'd ask for donations from, commercial ventures or individuals, and then, give preference to nonprofits, right? So people that are, go for schools first and that kind of thing. And just ask for it, right? You can't demand it, but...
And here's the difference, right? If he was doing this if it wasn't non-profit, right, he would be slapped down just like the Tangibot guy.
That's what it was, Tangibot. I forgot, yeah.
Tangibot guy got, slapped down because he didn't add anything. He didn't, that's the general, it sort of goes into my own unwritten rules of open source hardware, which not everyone agrees with, of course, and that's fine. But, usually you've got, you usually don't directly, absolutely rip off and compete against the original designer. That's just not kosher. You're legally allowed to do it, but, as happened, as the evidence showed, the Tangibot guy didn't really get supported. He got, basically slapped down for it.
Well, didn't get funded either.
But but in this case, it looks like people it looks like he's going to reach his goal. I mean, he only wants $12,000, and it's already up to 7 with 31 days left. So it looks like he's going to balls it in, of course. And it looks like people have no problem because he's doing it for those reasons. It's a non-profit. He's doing it for those, for some very good reasons. So that's how he's getting away with it.
Definitely.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. I support him too. But yes, it does sort of change the game. I mean...
Well,
once these,
it's...
As your title said, once these non-profit ones come in, well, who do you support? Do you support when you go to buy an Arduino, who do you an Arduino compatible board? Who do you support? The original guys who founded it, but you pay, 3 times as much or whatever, 2 or 3 times as much, or do you support the cool non-profit guy and pay less? I mean, it's sort of like a conflicting thing. I don't know. My brain's exploding. Who do I support?
Yeah. I think my instinct is that most people will go after price, just because.
Yeah, I think
that's my instinct, but maybe it's not true for everybody.
No, I'd certainly support people who wanted to, not buy from this non-profit thing and support the original designer, because I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of, with my, as I said in the unwritten rules, you try and support the original designer as much as possible. Yeah. As a first rule of thumb, you support them. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's a tough one.
Well, speaking of Arduino, we should mention former guest of the show, Mr. Jeremy Blum. Finally,
Jeremy Blum.
He just released a book on Arduino.
He did.
Yeah, it's good stuff. There may be a review on the back from me.
Yeah, we've both seen it, and it's good.
Yeah. So it was cool. I'm excited for him. That's a smart dude. Obviously, he's graduated now,
and it's through.
But,
yeah, and it's through like Wiley, or like through one of the big publishers.
Big ones.
And it's not like a No Starch. Also,
right.
It's not through one of the smaller publishers. Right. It's a big ass publisher.
Yeah, so it's good stuff.
Yep, good on him. We'll have to link it in to the notes if you want to get it.
Yep.
Is there a discount or something that people can get?
I don't know, but there is a bunch of videos at the very least.
Right? Yeah, he's done a bunch of videos. Well, that's where it came from, because he originally did all those Arduino videos for Element 14. And I think that's where a lot of the material came from. So it makes sense. A lot of the material was already done, kind of thing. So. Just like John Boxall, who's...
that's right. He's writing a book now too, right?
Fellow Australian. Yeah, he's done the Arduino book as well, and it's very good. I've physically got a copy here, and yeah, it's awesome as well. And once again, he, had done all these Arduino tutorials on his website, and sort of, that sort of all flowed into the book.
Yeah, it's interesting because the books seem like they don't seem like it. They do take a long time to make, but it seems like it still offers a marketplace, like that. Just, I don't know why. You'd think the internet would still be the ultimate marketplace these days, but I guess it just gives validity, and being on a bookshelf's nice, and having like a paper reference and everything. Because you think about it, like if you're doing online tutorials or video tutorials, and you end up just making a book that becomes an ebook, that's less valuable, right? It's like, oh, I'll just go to a website.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's I guess the dead tree version is cool to have in hand.
We support dead trees here on the Amp Hour.
Oh, we're old school. I'm getting older.
Well, I support sustainable forests and trees, chopping down. Let's not chop down virgin rainforests just to print our books and our data books and stuff.
When's the last time you saw a printed data book, Dave?
No, I know. Does anyone actually still have them? Does anyone still offer them?
I don't think so. Like, I mean, I guess I get catalogs. Like, I still get catalogs, and
yeah, they're still
you always get that
like
awkward moment where
right.
I don't want to I talk to vendors, and they kind of like, they're like smiling. They hand over their catalog, and I'm like, what are you giving me that for? What is this? 1992? Come on. But I mean, some people still want it, right? That's why they do it, and they just assume that guy that works in analog, of course he wants it. Definitely connectors. Connectors are still a big thing for me.
Right.
Still, no one still has. I thought DigiKey had it with their digital or their visual catalog.
Right. But it's just not the same.
No,
is it?
It's not very good at all, actually. I mean, now that I've dug into it for a while, maybe they're still improving it, but what's it called? They call it like their not visual catalog. They call it something else.
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. I am responsible for that. I think for getting DigiCan to.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm taking
credit
for
that,
anyway,
huh, Dave? Yeah, I'm sure no one's ever thought of that before.
Yeah, I'm taking credit for that.
Dynamic catalog.
For them
it's
ditching
called.
The paper catalog.
Yeah. It's
ditching the
it's
paper
such a
catalog.
good idea, right? I mean, and I've talked about this for a long time, as well as Dave has apparently. But honestly, the only thing that it really matters for is connectors, right? I mean, I personally think that connectors are the big ones, and even still, like you need that flippability. You know what I mean? I think I mentioned before on the show. The best way to do it still is Google image search, in my opinion. Type in what you think you need. I need an RJ45, and then just start scrolling.
Hit that image tab. Yep.
And just hope you have the right search term, or that someone caught it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, I've. It's tough though too. I mean, like, because then if you start getting like, I'm looking at like backplane connectors on this catalog right now, right? This DigiKey catalog, and it's like, all right, but I mean, there's just so many, Like, how do you start filtering? And
You've got to be careful with Google image search. Like, I highly recommend not searching for wire strippers.
Strippers.
Yep. Or, you got to be careful with, using the words female and...
Right, female-male connection.
Male, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mating connectors. We're really mature here on the Amp Hour. Definitely turn Safe Search on, though, if you're going to do the Google image search thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's a killer thing. We're trying to get more into the Google search thingy again with the... we're putting all our episodes on the YouTubes. The YouTubes.
That's right.
Yeah.
The YouTubes. We finally have found an easy way to upload all our episodes on there. So we plan... Do we plan on doing all of them?
Yeah, it'll take a little time, but we'll get them up there.
Yep.
And it was actually Kai that did it. The one who did he uploaded the Amp Hour minus the Amp Hour, and that actually alerted me to this service. So pretty cool. It was nice of him to do that.
Yeah, it just you feed in an image, you feed in the MP3, and it automatically uploads to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, it's like easy peasy.
Yep.
It's good.
You know what's not easy?
All right, so what?
These new parts, these new micros.
Oh, come on.
What? Have you seen these new PIC 12 8-bit, good lord, tiny small things?
They've been around forever, these little ultra miniature things.
I know, and I know, packages, it's basically the same size as like a BGA, but like, I don't know. It bugs me.
Get over it.
It bugs me.
We can still buy them as an SO80 if you want. Yeah, well, no, what packet does this new variant only come in?
This is, what do they call it?
Yeah.
It's I don't even see that's the other thing. Like, it's not like, it looks like a QFN. Oh, it's a UDFN. I'm guessing that's micro DFN instead, and they just call it U. Yeah.
Ultra fiddly.
2x3 millimeters, rather.
So what does UDFM stand for? Ultra fiddly dicky.
I was going to say, I said micro U being micro, probably, like a mu symbol.
All right.
DFN. What's DFN? That's
I can't remember.
It's like the flat package with the...
Yeah.
Oh, flat, no leads. That's the FN.
Yes.
Dual flat, no leads, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I know. They're a pain in the arse.
I always forget whenever I do that.
If you need something that small, they're useful. I mean, the thing about microchip is they have 20 million variants.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
You know, choose your poison. Yeah. Not a problem.
You know, the thing with these DFNs, though, I always forget to, like... The key, I think, is bringing out... is, like, modifying the footprint, because if you don't bring the footprint out past the edge of the package, even though they tell you not to, you're never... like, at least at prototyping, you're never going to get it on the board, you know? You need to be able to actually apply heat to a pad from external to the chip, because if you're just doing hot air, it's just... I don't know. At least with the ball grid, you can get some air under there, you know, like, and you have a chance.
Right.
These things, nothing. Especially that big fat pad on the bottom, you know.
Well, the big fat pad actually helps. I've done a video of how you can actually solder through the pad, use the bottom pad as a thermal heat transfer. So you put vias underneath the pads, and then you actually solder from the bottom side of the board. And then I showed a video where the heat actually spreads from that pad through the die, up the bond wires, and then onto the pads themselves.
That sounds healthy.
Yeah, I know. It's
just
not,
heat the shit
not
out
the
of
best
your,
way to do it.
out of your 30 micron gold bond wires. I'm sure everything will go great. I tell you, you know,
it's it works, and it is a way to do it. You've just got to be careful.
Yeah, you know what the lifesaver is. I think is. And I think it was Curious Adventure videos, or someone else was showing it. I was watching a video about soldering, like, you know, leadless packages and stuff like that, and real tiny stuff.
Right.
Board preheaters have changed my life. Do you have one of these?
Right. Yes. No, I don't have one. We used to have them at work.
I got a cheap one.
Board,
I think it's.
Yeah, you can get them cheap these
ones?
days. $30 or something, can't you?
Oh, maybe $30. I don't know. I got the hot air. I was talking to Jeff Kaiser about it, actually. I think he said not to get quartz, so I definitely steered away from quartz, where it's like the little it's like an IR heater, because that can like scorch your board. Right. But this is basically basically like a hot air gun, you know, on the bottom of the board, and
that actually mounts on the bench. It sits on your bench, and you put the board over the top.
Yeah. Then you just get a clamp, you hold it over top, and man, it's killer. It's just. Any kind of, you know, like everybody's experienced that before, where you're soldering, you're just holding a hot air pencil over top of the, you know, a copper pour.
Yep, swirling it around, you know, hoping to...
God. And then you move it for a second, and you see the solder start to flow, and then you're like, crap, I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, this is the proper way to do it. This is a professional way to do it. You preheat your board. Just like it goes through a reflow oven, you know, it has a thermal profile. You know, this is a poor man's... Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of
flux. Preheats it all.
That was the other thing that.
Flux is everything.
I know. Well, you know, that was a big problem for me for a long time. I did not appreciate the flux.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally fluxed.
There you go. Yep. My condolences.
Joke. We should talk about our sponsor.
It's pretty bad
for this week.
We should, because we're halfway through. We're more than halfway through.
Oh. Yes.
Too much Indiegogo crap.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Happies.
Yeah. So, Netburner has once again, they've come back despite our well, we didn't do too bad last time, but they still have good products that you can use to get up and running quickly for your Ethernet solutions. If you need Ethernet in your project and you need to be able to prototype, you can actually get these boards. You can prototype with them quickly, get up and running in less than a day, and you can actually then pull this whole module onto your board, so you can actually plug it in and go.
Yeah, embed it in your product, and it's all done for you.
Exactly. And
why anyone would dick around? Unless you're manufacturing 100,000 of something,
right?
Why would you dick around trying to do it yourself?
Right.
It's just man.
Well, and especially if you're already in the same kind of product families, if you're used to, if you know that you're a cold fire house, because a lot of the Netburner boards are cold fire based. I mean, which is pretty standard, especially in industrial space, medical space. Like basically they're just giving you a dev kit effectively that you can take and start running. It's just not from cold fire; it's from Netburner, so you get all the auxiliary benefits of having tailored packages to get up and running quickly.
Yep.
But yeah, cool.
And then they have a proverbial buttload of products.
They do. We were looking at this before the show. It's
there's like dozens and dozens of each different type tailored to every possible solution.
Yeah. And if listeners are interested, you can actually they're giving Amp Hour listeners 20% off dev kits. The one that they sent us is actually a Mod 54415. That's the plug-in board, and then the common board that it plugs into is a Mod Dev 70 board. And basically, you can hook up to it with serial, you can hook up with USB, and then you can toggle a lot of stuff and get an easy interface so that you can get up and running. So
straight on the web.
Yep, right onto the web. And it's all royalty free, so that's nice too. And it's got RTOS built in. The usual stuff for anytime you have like a Ethernet or USB stack, you usually need an RTOS in there. And Lord knows I'm not going to write one. So
no, exactly. I'm not going to spend 6 months sticking around. No, thanks. I'll just plug in one of these. Much easier. Yep. Save your sanity. Yep.
So thank you to Netburner for sponsoring the show this week. They continue to be awesome.
Thank you very much. Check them out.
All right. What else do we have to talk about? Anything? Should we just shut it down now? Just call it a day?
Aren't there another 10 Indiegogo projects?
No. Okay.
Indiegogo seems to be the rage now. Everyone's sort of moving away from Kickstarter because, it's too rigid. Oh, I can't get flexible funding,
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go there.
Well, speaking of rigid, so there was a ruling that was just handed down from a ruling body. The ARRL actually just rejected a petition to encrypt data communications. Did you hear about that at all?
No.
Yeah, so basically someone petitioned them saying that, we're entering a new age of data and we need to be able to encrypt
right.
our radio communication, on different radio bands.
Right, to stop the NSA snooping on us, right?
Right, and that is kind of they didn't actually ever state that, as far as I can tell.
Right.
But that was definitely the undertone, and obviously the timing was way too coincidental. And
all right.
But the basis of amateur radio is that everyone can listen in. You can, and it is self-policing. That's kind of the thing, right? Same thing with like open source hardware, right? It's self-policing. Because there's just not resources in order to be able to have some kind of third party that can watch over and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're in trouble, that kind of thing. It has to be, the community. And so they said, no, if it needs to be encrypted, it probably shouldn't be amateur. That's basically the idea.
Right. Okay.
And
right.
And
why do they have a say in it anyway? Why do they?
Why does who?
The Amateur Radio Relay League.
Why do they? Well, it's actually the FCC. I mean, the FCC is.
Oh, right. Oh, it's the FCC. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But it's the ARRL
so
is pretty.
How are the ARRL involved?
It's a third party organization, but it's. I mean, they're basically as it was explained to me, and people I'm sure will correct me if I'm wrong, especially ham radio stuff. I think it's basically whatever the ARRL says, the FCC goes along with, basically because it's that self-policing and stuff. I mean, it's it's a lot of the same people too,
And they didn't support it. The ARL gave it the thumbs down.
Right, exactly. And another reason too is that, a big function of amateur radio is for emergency communications and everything else. And it's like at the times when you need it the most, you don't want that stuff encrypted. You don't want to mess with all that stuff. So they said
you want to be able to make a transmitter out of a couple of transistors and an old teapot, and
yes.
Right.
That sounds like a heck of a product. Or project, rather.
Well, that segues us nicely.
Oh, yeah? To what?
Yeah, it does. There's one on the
Are you
thing.
a little teapot, short and stout, Dave?
Oh, boy. Flying teapot.
Flying teapot.
Bertrand Russell's famous flying teapot.
That's a philosophical argument, right?
Orbiting, philosophical argument.
Yeah.
There's a teapot orbiting Mars.
You can't prove it or whatever?
Yeah, you can't prove it's not there.
Yeah.
So,
is there really a segue or no?
Yes, there is, because there's a new ad hoc Wi-Fi networky thing to use during disaster recovery thing. Oh, God, it's an Indiegogo.
I didn't see this.
Sorry.
Another one?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's on the list. It's an Indiegogo. Yeah, it's called the Speak Freely. Speak Freely. And, yes, it's, there's nothing new here. I think a lot of people have been working on this. It's like in disasters, the GSM network goes down, the mobile phone network, cellular network for you Yanks, goes down. And, everyone's, the 7 billion mobile phones on the planet are useless. Right, so they're getting them to talk together with Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But, Wi-Fi point to point. But,
I was going to say, Wi-Fi's terrible for that kind of thing, isn't it?
And it's limited to 100 meters, or like if it's Wi-Fi, it's like 100. Like you could see the person.
Yeah.
Why not just walk over them and talk to them?
Say hi.
If it's 100 meters away. I haven't watched the video. I haven't watched it in depth and know how it works, or if they have repeaters or anything like that.
Well, they must. Yeah.
Not exactly. Well, yeah, they have to. Otherwise, it's useless, right? If you don't have repeaters that can sort of, if you can't talk to someone 10 kilometers away, then what's the point?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it must do that. Anyway, there's lots of, and there's people working on the other aspect, like a mobile, like an ad hoc GSM transmitter repeater type thing. So they use the GSM functionality instead of the Wi-Fi functionality, and there's pros and cons both ways, and the Wi-Fi one is like it's just an app basically, so you don't have to get it certified and all that sort of jazz, I guess. Whereas if you go, if you try and manufacture some sort of, GSM cellular transmitter repeater thing, you're just going to get slapped down silly by the government.
Government.
Government. Yeah. So, anyway, check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Can we say that we're not going to do another Indiegogo?
I don't know. They snuck up on us there.
I don't know. They just pop up.
Yeah.
They just keep, popping up.
Yeah.
We can talk about a crashed airliner.
No, that's
No.
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 What?
Well,
what
it
do you
did get 7 votes.
No, I don't care. I shouldn't say that on air.
Dictatorship.
I
It's
know.
a
It
dictatorship,
is
folks. It's not a democracy. We'll talk about what we damn well like.
We rule as two
regardless of what everyone
kings.
says.
I don't know. What have you been working on lately, man? What you been making? Anything?
Nothing. Because I just did a 5-hour live show.
You did a live show, that's right.
Well, I only do them like every 100 or something. So I did 4 hours for the 400th show, so I thought, I'll do 5 hours.
Oh, you hit 500?
500? Yeah. Well, I'm pretty close to it.
Yeah? Oof.
Well, officially, but I'm like way over. I'm like 520 videos or something, if you actually look at how many I've uploaded.
Yeah.
Because some I didn't number, some have been multiple parts, blah, blah, blah. So, yep. So it's a bit arbitrary, you know.
I've been dealing with vendors again. I'm doing the vendor dance again, kind of like what Jerry talked about when she was just entering the vendor dance. I'm nearing the end of my tango, but
everyone's bingo sheet's full by now, surely.
What, mentioning Jerry?
No, mentioning the bloody the dance.
The dance? We should play music, tango music.
You're the musician. You've got live hardware there, don't you?
Oh,
You
yeah.
just
They can't play
rattle
it.
off something on the piano or something.
But it's finally getting to the point where I'm like able to say more confidently how many I'm making, and I tell you, it never ceases to amaze me. Like when you have some volume, and when when you start speaking more freely about it because you're more confident about, oh well,
Right.
I thought it was going to be 100, now it's going to be 1,000.
And you didn't want to lie.
Right.
And you didn't want to lie.
Right. And of course, everybody just says, well, you should just lie. But I don't like lying.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's amazing how nice everyone gets.
Right. Money.
Yeah, money
Lots
does
of money.
make the world go round, apparently. And
Unless you're a non-profit doing an
oh, of course,
Indiegogo
right,
campaign.
yeah. Well, come on, we shouldn't make fun of them.
No, definitely not.
But,
No, it's good. The world does that. That's what I'm saying. The world doesn't always revolve around money.
Oh, right. Yeah,
You know?
that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right?
But you know what? For certain things, it does, and especially certain things like in supply chain stuff, right? I mean, like supply chains move based on money. Like they just. I can't even imagine the next step up. Like I'm not doing anything crazy, but like moving up into like automotive or in consumer level, like couple million pieces of or a certain micro or something, like I've never gotten that high before, I've
gotten as high as a couple 100,000.
Okay, like single year, couple 100,000.
Yeah.
Oh. See, now I would be interested to hear from people about that too, because I'm sure that we've asked in the past about people that are in the consumer space, right? And we had I think like 15% of the audience or so said they were in the consumer space, and I assume that there's some percentage of that then that's actually working on large scale products. And it's just got to be a different game, right? I mean, like, because I know that
It is, yeah.
I know that there's salespeople that are dedicated just to one company, right? I've heard about that before.
Oh, yeah, yes, absolutely.
Or multiple salespeople, which
if you're
blows my
an Apple of
mind.
the world, you'll have multiple people handling your account.
Right.
Just dedicated to your account, they're at your beck and call. They're on your speed dial,
Yeah.
And as you said, like on the flip side, you said, people get very nice, right?
Yeah.
When those sort of volumes happen. Yes, they do. But then they can also get incredibly narky if you don't give them the design win.
Right.
Is the industry term. They're all after the design win.
Or sockets. You ever hear that one? Where they talk about winning sockets?
Yes.
Oh, that bugs me for some reason. I know what it comes from.
Every semiconductor manufacturer wants to get that socket or that design.
Or get every socket. That's what they talk about, right? We want to get every socket.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Multiple.
make some stuff I actually want to use this time.
and if they don't get the design win, and they've put a lot of work into a lot of time and effort and free gifts and everything else trying to woo you to use their product, and if you don't go with them, they can get real narky.
Yeah, free gifts within reason, of course, right? Samples and less than $25 or whatever the. Do they have that
and they
there?
take you out for lunch and they give you. Sorry?
Do you guys have like because like in the States we have like Sarbanes-Oxley and other like regulations based on how much in gifts you can take, and then there's always corporate governance on if vendors can give you.
Oh, I'm not sure. There probably are at the high end of things, as if you're a public company or something, if you're a shareholder, or if you're on the board or something like that. I think there might be, but down at us grunt level, no.
Yeah, I guess it's what they want to really give you anyways. But
yep, yeah, and they woo you and they take you out for free lunch, and they they give you all sorts of freebies, and they offer all sorts of support. And
see, the support is the main thing for me. I mean, so I was on the Toy Makers chat the other night, and you stopped in there too. We were talking about it, and it's just like the thing that really matters is the support ultimately, right? I mean, like, yeah, sure, getting a dev board is nice, right? But honestly, most of the time, I'd rather just pony up the dough, and pay for a dev board if no one's going to bug me about it, right? I'd rather.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The support comes. It's a two-way. It can be a two-way street there. You can get support where, they only support you when you need it, and the other aspect is no, they keep hassling you.
Yeah, right.
You know, we talked about this. Oh, they phone you up every day. Can we help you? Can we help you? No. Go away. Bugger off.
I try and do your impression of that because you do that in your promo video, right? No,
yeah, I'm a
professional design engineer.
I don't need component advice from I don't need design advice from a component supplier.
Yeah.
That's what I scream in the video.
Right.
Yeah,
my accent is terrible.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? They all come in and they're all nice and they offer you, oh look,
they want to help.
And they will
Come
help
on,
you.
give them credit.
And they do want to help, right? But the thing is, it comes down to a practical thing. It's like, look, there's no way that I could possibly explain all of my technical requirements to you. It'd take a month.
Right.
Heck, it took me 2 months to write the design spec for this product, and you want me to, you can't help. You're more of a hindrance than.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful. You can spend more time getting help than actually just saying, no thanks. Look, I don't need it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that's tough too because, it's not just one vendor as well, right? If you're working with 5 vendors, you got to tell that story 5 times. You got to keep straight who you told what and who you're allowed to tell what and everything. It's just...
Yeah, and they want to come and meet you. Oh, look, let's come and sit down and have, spend the whole afternoon and you can explain all of your technical detail. I don't have time to do that. It's like,
Yeah.
And as you said, if you get 5 people all wanting to do the same thing, you can,
Yeah.
suck away all your time just trying to keep them up to date with your technical requirements. And it's like, no, it's...
it kind of comes down to trust, because... Honestly, I've felt the urge before with certain big vendors to just be like, screw it, you have everything I need, just design this stuff for me. Not like I really want to do that, but when you're in a time crunch and they're offering that, there's always that. I think that's what they're really hoping for. They really want you to just be like, just do it. Either because you're a software person and you need help with hardware, or.
I've done that. We've had people, like complex stuff like FPGAs, for example. And if you're not very good at FPGAs, you might be able to bum your way through it. But then if the distributor comes along and goes, look, we have a really great apps, field applications engineer who's a whiz at FPGAs and he'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Then your eyes sort of start lighting up and go,
because you just think about all the other stuff you have to do, right? And
exactly.
that's what they don't teach you in school, right? That bugged me a lot, right? Because when I came out of school, I thought about, I was like, I'm just going to do everything, right? Because it's interesting and I want to learn stuff. And at the end of the day, sometimes you just don't get to. And that part sucks.
That's right.
But also, sometimes you just need to get stuff done, right? If you want to get a product out the door, if you're focused on getting your product done, which in my opinion is more important than ego, even though I've fought with my own ego a lot, your mindset changes, it's just, just get it done. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. It just needs to be done. And sometimes that is, working with a vendor to have a prefab solution. Yeah, it's a little boring, but boring is, if it works.
Well, welcome to the world of engineering.
Yeah, and
I
product
spent my
development,
whole entire
right?
career doing boring.
Yeah, that's development versus research, right? That's the D to the R, right? That sucks sometimes. Sometimes development blows, but sometimes then you get to
Oh, there's some fun stuff in there, but generally,
yeah.
I mean, there are people who spend their entire career and they do nothing exciting at all. They do nothing new. They just spend their whole career, grinding, on the treadmill, just grinding out stuff.
Yep. This component's obsolete. Change it out.
Yeah.
This component's obsolete. Change it out. Yeah. Well, yeah, and so like I was saying though, like sometimes it feels like the urge is there to just kind of like go all in, right? But you can't, right? Like, so say I want to go with just one vendor. They have all the chips I need. I'm just going to buy them all from them and get good pricing because it's a package or whatever, right? Like, that could bite you in the ass the next day, right? Because they say, you're only buying from us? Well, guess what? The price just changed, But it's the same kind of thing, right? Like any kind of system, right? Like picking a distributor, right? Sometimes sometimes you don't have a choice. You just have to go all in because of time constraints. Or picking a PCB package, right? right? Like you have that is a big decision, right? And once you go, if you pick Altium, you got to go all in. You got to learn everything about it because you're not going to change that for 10 years. Right?
No, that's right.
Because
Ever.
the transaction
Sometimes.
cost of switching away from it is super high because all your stuff is already in that, right? And they all know that, right? So these are the kind of things you have to decide, and it sucks sometimes.
Oh boy.
Speaking of PCB softwares, so one that I've been resisting because of what we've talked about previously is online, online only schematic or layout programs and everything. But I thought Upverter has a very interesting selling point now, something that I think should be called out and praised. They have forking. So you can say,
explain.
Fork it. I'm just going to do it. So basically, open source projects, right? You upload your design for the microcurrent, right? Is that open source hardware?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's open source hardware. You upload the design files, right? So that includes the schematic, it includes the layout, and it includes, I think maybe there's even BOM backend stuff, right? On the actual features that they offer. And then basically, much like GitHub, right? Basically, this is a implementation of GitHub forking into hardware. So then I see, cool. Dave's got his microcurrent up there. I'm going to make microcurrent GAML version. And so I hit fork, right? And then I could take it and start, it's a whole new project, cool. And then just start cranking on it. And basically you can have derivative projects all over the place. And I'm not sure about reintegration, but that would be the ultimate idea, would be to actually be able to...
Well, I assume it doesn't reintegrate or that's not terribly easy, I can imagine.
Yeah, that would be the hard part, but that's ultimately...
you can't do it at the PCB level,
right.
Like
that's ultimately what GitHub
level.
is good at, right? Because then you actually pull the forks back in, and then
code is a different beast.
Yeah,
hardware is a different beast to code,
right?
Really.
Yeah, and so they've also been featuring stuff too, and that's cool too, right? I mean, like they actually have been featuring projects for that you can take and just fork, which is cool because you want to just see it. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Click, go. I'm going to build it, right? And I think what their idea is that ultimately Upverter is going to be like, oh, hey, you want to buy the components? Buy them through us, and then you can just click, buy a board, comes assembled.
Right.
I think that's what everybody's going towards with online. That's the promise of online, and it's tempting. Mm-hmm. It is oh so tempting.
It is tempting. Where's the trap?
It's in there, man. I don't know. Like, Upverter's got another vote in their column because they, I think their export. They had like an export thing on their site.
Okay.
Where I think they can export to a bunch of different formats now too.
Can they import?
I don't. One of the two isn't there yet.
Right.
And
it's kind of important.
It is. Where is it? Because they just changed their site around too. I don't know. But, so, I like what they're doing, but I'm not there yet. I don't know about you.
You're still nervous.
I'm still very nervous.
No, I'm still nervous, no.
Yeah.
I don't think I could commit to an online tool.
I'm
not sure if I could do it. I'm too old school.
Yeah, and I think they said I think some of their features some of their code is open source, but I'm sure not all of it is. But man, if it got to the point where like all their code was open source, and then I could compile something for a local build, so that in the event of failure, I could run it locally.
Right.
That maybe they're getting there, but keep going, guys. You'll get there. I think it's
well. There's always going to be a subset of people who are going to want to use it.
Of course,
there's always going to be a bunch of professionals who just will flat out refuse it.
Yeah.
For very good reasons.
Yeah.
So you can't be all things to all people.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right. And I mean, open source alone is a strong point for them, because if you're doing all your design out in the open anyways, why not? Right. It's basically Upverter's trying to be GitHub for
hardware.
Thank you. Hardware. That's what we do.
You think?
Oh, some days.
Can we talk some hardware now? How about a chip of the week?
Ooh, yes. Go ahead. So this is one you found, but I had seen it mentioned as well.
Yes, it's the new. We've done it before. It's the new LT. There's a new version on the LT 3080 series.
Yeah.
Voltage regulator, and it's the LT 3081, and yes, just like the LT, it's a sort of a big improvement on the LT 3080, which has had some design issues. So I'm not sure if this one has a similar thing. It could do.
Mm-hmm. And this was in
anyway,
your planned power project, is that right?
This is in my micro supply. Yes, I was using the LT 3080, which I may have to go away from because I don't have a good vibe anymore. And there are workarounds to the issues that they're having with the silicon in there. But yeah,
but you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of silicon problems. Like it's
a regulator.
It looks pretty. Yeah, it's op amp and a couple transistors, but not like I know what the hell I'm doing.
I'm trying to use it in a non-standard kind of way,
right.
but But still, anyway, no, even in a standard way, you can still, using their example circuit, you can still kill it. So that's pretty bad. Anyway, this LT 3081, it's an expanded version of that. So not only is it a sort of a low dropout, go down to 0 volts regulator, the voltage output set by a single resistor because there's a constant current output, and then it's just got the typical feedback circuit with the op amp and the pass transistor. Mm-hmm. It's, not only is it that, so it's still the LT 3081 in that respect, but it has a current monitor built in as well, which is really groovy, and it's a voltage and it's a current output. So once again, single resistor, you can scale the output voltage to anything you want because you just change the resistor value on the monitor pin, on the current monitor pin, and so you don't need a separate current monitor chip like I'm using in my supply design. And on top of that, it's also got a die temperature output as well. Once again, set via a single external resistor. It sets the voltage range, so great, you can scale it. The great thing about using these external resistors is that you can set your current range to whatever supply you're using and whatever the input range of your analog to digital converter is. Usually inside your micro or whatever, and it's, you can just scale it. It's great. You don't have to dick around with external op amps and voltage dividers to scale it all. It's just choose the correct value resistor. That's it.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Buy decent resistors as well.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's got a temperature output, a die monitor temperature output. You can feed that back into your analog to digital converter. And on top of that, yes, it's got the kitchen sink, folks. It's got current limit as well, once again set by a single feedback resistor in there. Which connects to the output, unfortunately, so it's not like you can adjust the current limit digitally. There's no easy way to do that unless you use an E-squared pot.
Right.
But then E-squared pots have voltage limits. They have maximum voltage limits.
Right.
You're not going to use this thing up to 36 volts with an E-squared pot.
Well, it looks like it's floating, It's floating on from the output to the ILM, so it looks like it might be okay.
No, but then you've got the control pin and the reference and everything. No, it doesn't. Yeah, no, been there.
Okay.
Looked at that. Even your high voltage, in quote marks, E-square pots only go to 12 volts.
See, I've never touched those. I've never...
right. They're pretty handy.
Yeah.
For lots of uses, but...
They're never precise enough for me. I mean, like, they're okay for, like, stair-stepping kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty crude. You can get, your general ones like, 128 step, 256 step.
Yeah.
You can get... like 1,024 steps.
It's always drift stuff for me. I mean, like, the steps are okay, but then, like, the driftiness.
In terms of drift.
It's just, and it's like, at that point, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get a DAC, Get a decent DAC.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's how most people use them, right? They use
DAC.
actual DACs, or they use them as, like, a feedback for a DAC or something, ad hoc DAC.
Oh, they have lots of uses for setting, crude volume and stuff like that, or, there's, lots of reasons. But as you said, they are pretty crude in terms of their tolerance and specs and stuff. But
I way overdo it with precision stuff. So
speaking of which, this is not. You might think this chip is magic, but there's no free lunch here.
No,
folks. I'm afraid.
Well,
you
amp
might
and a
think,
half.
well, no. Well, okay. It's an amp and a half, but you can parallel them up, right? But anyway, the thing is, right, you might think, oh, current limiting building, great, I can build a great precision current limited power supply out of this single chip.
Wah, wah.
Wah.
Wah,
No,
wah.
go read the little asterisks in the thing, and it says, tolerance of 15% on the current limit pin.
Right,
You know,
right.
only 15%, you
Yeah.
know, so, over temperature. So, trap for young players there.
Yeah. Well, and that's
That's
actually
why you can't take. You know, that's the thing. You look at the front page of this and you think it does everything, and you're racing and you spend, all day thinking about what wonderful design you can do with it, and then you finally get down into the deep dark detail of it. Oh, it's 15% tolerance.
Yep.
Shit.
read your data
That's just
sheets and then
garbage,
prototype, folks. That is important.
So it's good. It's good enough but it's designed for crude overload kind of thing.
right.
Where it's 200 milliamps is near enough. Is it 200, 250?
Right, and this is actually a question
Doesn't
I
really
asked
matter.
today on the Reddit as well, because it was actually separate from this, but it was just everything's getting current limiting or protection type stuff built into it. I think what was the one
Right.
I posted? There was like a E-fuse built into some TI part, and it's like our younger engineers going to actually have a sense of needing to current limit, right? I mean, like obviously they'll understand the flow of current,
And
hopefully
input protection and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
You know?
everything's getting thrown in because it's a feature that can actually be sold, but until it's actually designed into everything, you need to worry about this. And if you just start expecting it's going to be there, well, you're going to blow up a lot of chips, right? it's
Well, I'd say you're not going to have a career if you go
Well,
around.
that's
You're
true.
not going to have a very long career if you go
Yeah.
around expecting things to work instead of actually checking to see if they will work.
Yeah.
I'd say you're not going to make a good designer, and you'll end up in management.
right. I was comparing
Go to
it
the
to
big
my,
bucks.
but the thing is, like, I was comparing it to EST, right? I mean, like, I don't really, I'm not very stringent about like static mats or wearing a wrist strap or anything like that. I mean,
None of us are.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's much less of a concern than it used to be, right? I mean, everything has a
Oh, of
diode
course,
built
yeah,
into
yeah.
it now to actually shunt
Yep,
current away
yep.
when you have
They're
when
pretty
you have
robust, yeah.
a static spike, right? But it wasn't always like that. Where there was a point where
No, that's right.
it
Back in the 70s, 80s?
80s, yeah. I mean, like, this old CMOS stuff, that stuff would just pop, and but eventually it got designed in everything, and then people like me could just ignore it, right? And so the idea, I think, would be that eventually this kind of current limiting or something else might also get designed in, and then there might be other issues because of that. I guess I answered my own question, but like usual. But I don't know. It's just something to watch out for, I guess, if you're getting started. You don't always trust the vendors to design it for you because it might not be
Right.
precise enough, or it might not work at all.
As the LT3080 had issues, right? You think it's wonderful and you design it in, and no, you find little hidden traps everywhere.
Yeah. What's the price on those things?
It's not good.
I didn't see it.
Oh, the LT30, they aren't cheap. Come on, it's LT.
Right.
LT,
Right,
the
right.
Rolls Royce of analog, Yeah, like they're $5 one off or something.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh,
They're
wow.
pretty expensive. Oh yeah. These aren't. No, if you're after a low cost solution, you wouldn't be dropping these LT regulators everywhere
Yeah.
over your board. You wouldn't have 10 of them on there.
Yeah, this looks like it says 370, 470 in single quantity. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Duh.
But hey, if they do everything you need, then with no fuss.
No
Then
fuss,
that's
no
the thing.
muss.
We were talking about that before, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to dick around, right? You just want to.
That's true.
Oh, look, this chip does everything I need, and there's an application circuit which does exactly what I want. Bam, put it in, no risk, no fuss. Thank you very much. I'll pay the $3.
Yeah. Oh, well, that is the last thing we should bring
Yeah.
up about this. That was an interesting thing that you pointed out on this data sheet, which I did not expect. They actually talk about Arduino on it, on like an LT,
Oh, yes, they do.
on an LT
Is it?
data sheet. They're mentioning like Arduino monitored supply, and it's like, huh?
Have they jumped the shark?
I was
Is this be the beginning and the end? Every old greybeard out there is
I
just
was going to say Jim
groaning
Williams
now.
is
It's like,
rolling over in his grave probably, but
Yep.
although I was talking to LT the other day, they said that they're putting some 8051 cores in some stuff. So I don't know.
Right.
It's all maybe it is the beginning of the end. I don't know. Analog companies, nothing's purely analog anymore. Chris is outmoded. But
you're out of a job, just like we're out of time.
Yes. Well, I'm going to go practice coding, I guess. Coding or marketing, I don't know.
Well, you always wanted that MBA, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I've always talked about it in such great light. All right, well,
Go and get one now.
I'm off to study, and people can come quiz me about MBA stuff in New York City. So be sure to let me know on the subreddit if you think you're gonna make it out to this New York City meetup. I'd love to see everybody and hang out and have some.
Hey, I could send my full-size cardboard cutout, Dave.
There you go. Yeah, man, do it. All right, well, I'll let you know all about it next week. Oh, and Jeff Roberg, applications engineer of Blue Giga, and mentioned last week on the show for the Key Glove, talking to Google Glass. He will be on the show talking to us about his Google Glass experience. I will have my Google Glass at that point.
Sweet.
And we can, but we'll talk about Bluetooth, and that's the real thing people should ask questions about on the subreddit.
Fantastic.
All right, talk to you then.
See ya.
This episode was brought to you by NetBurner. NetBurner allows you to get your embedded network solution up and running quickly, so you can get your prototype or your final product out the door faster than any other solution available today. To hear more about the hardware, software, and friendly build environment, and to get a listener discount, go to netburner.com/theamphour.